All right, we are going to be all the way to the inverted legend.
Everybody, thanks so much for listening. If you're listening to us for the first time, whether it's the radio, a podcast, please definitely tell your friends, your family members. If you're on the internet, please subscribe to this podcast. We have That Diz Girl on TikTok and That Disney Girl on YouTube and Instagram. It is underscore That Diz Girl. Again, this is Alessa, and she is a big hit on TikTok and Instagram. So definitely check her out. Alessa, thanks so much for coming on to speak about all your social medias, I should just say, and also Disney.
Thanks for having me. It's like weird hearing someone think that like I'm a big hit. Like that's very nice to hear.
Okay. Well, you are, so we'll be truthful and honest on this. So I know who you are, and I've seen some TikToks of you. I've seen some articles also written about you and what you do. Can you tell the viewers that maybe don't know about you a little bit about yourself?
Yeah, for sure. So, like you guys heard, my name's Alessa. I am a Canadian who has moved to Orlando. So now I am here full time. I love everything theme parks. I loved them my whole life. And at some point, I just felt like I needed to be like more creative again. So I decided to use my love for theme parks with like creating a YouTube channel just to have a creative outlet. And then that kind of snowballed into me creating other social media things, and then taking it a little bit more seriously and like posting more regularly. And I discovered like I really, really love a lot of like Disney history things that make me seem super nerdy to a lot of people. Like I like learning about the history of a quick service restaurant in Magic Kingdom. That brings me joy in life. And I also love fashion and like dressing up to go to the parks, which I feel like if you're someone who always went to like local theme parks, this never happens. Like if you usually go to like a Cedar Fair park or something like that. But in Disney, you see it way more often, Universal as well. So I kind of like really like taking that and running with it in a very far direction.
So if you've done Dapper days, I assume if you like to dress up then.
Yeah, well, I actually did my first ever Dapper day because it was the first time that I was like here and knew about it. That was my bad other times. But I did it in California, which doesn't make sense. Like you would think I would have done it in Orlando, but I did it in Disneyland. But now I am paying more attention to the Dapper Day schedule. So I actually did it just recently in Disney World too. So I've done it in Disneyland and Disney World, but Disneyland was my first time.
Was your family always connected to Orlando when you were growing up, or is this just something with you that you liked Disney and you always wanted to be down in this area?
No, I think I'm one of the people that like my parents brought me when I was young, and then it like my parents literally said recently that they created a monster. Not in a bad way, because my family is extremely like Disney obsessed. My house has like at home has so much Disney everywhere. I've gone every year since I was 1.5 when I was a kid. And then when I became old enough to like, there was a point in time where I just was like, I'm tired of going to Disney every year. Why do we keep going to Disney World every year? I want to laugh at myself at that age now. But like, there was a point after, once I became older and was able to like really appreciate it again, that I started going a few times a year, like either by myself on solo trips or with friends, until like I decided to be wild and move my entire life to Disney World. But yeah, it's definitely, I don't think if my parents would have like not instilled that obsession into me at such a young age, that I would have had it like that, because it's like you said, there's so many people that like this is their family vacation destination spot. And I think like that's definitely the reason I have it obsessed. Because like you said, being from Toronto, like most of my friends, like I have some friends that really like Disney, but I don't know another person in Toronto who loved it the way I did, except for my mom and dad. So it's not normal. At least not at home. It didn't feel that way. Like it is a lot more, I guess Toronto is definitely comparable to, I think it's comparable to New York, just on a smaller scale. But similar vibes, you know, like you're in like a major city that has a lot going on and everything like that. Definitely lots of sports orientated. There is entertainment and all that sort of stuff, but it's not somewhere that you're like necessarily throwing Disney into the mix. So yeah, it's definitely a parental problem that was had, that for me isn't a problem. I love that they were able to bring me to Disney, and that it fostered this like unhealthy / maybe healthy obsession.
You know, just to go back into that, I had that too, where I was like, you know, why are we going to Disney? I love all these rides at Universal. And then obviously I'm not a huge Universal guy because they got rid of all the rides that I grew up with and fell in love with at such a young age. But, you know, are you more of a, it seems like from your TikTok, your YouTube, and your Instagram, you're more of a just a Disney person now. I know you said you love the parks all in general, but is that you're more geared toward Disney than Universal in general? Is it both like a mix, like a middle, like 50-50, or is it just like 80-20 Disney to Universal?
I think like although like a lot of my content obviously gears to Disney, but I am a massive Universal fan. When I would like I used to like write articles all the time, and I was like the reason that like the site I was working for went into the Universal direction. I love like all of the history of the rides. I could tell you like all these facts about the Jaws attractions or any of the extinct attractions. I loved them. I was like lucky enough, like when I went to on my trips, we went to Universal as well. I remember there was this one time, they would never do this again. But there was a deal that it was $99 for 7 days of unlimited access to both parks. Like imagine, it's like $250 now for a day to get in. Crazy. But at that point we were just like, I was going every single day on any vacation. And now I'm a pass holder. I used to live like 5 minutes from there. So after work, I would just like hop over, ride Velocicoaster or Hagrid's, and then like come home, which seems like such a like awesome thing to do, and it is. Like a good way to get your steps in is walking around Universal. But yeah, I think I'm now gonna start trying to like implement more Universal. Disney is just always, I guess, more like what well known and more widely like receptive.
Everybody does Disney.
Yeah, so it's something that like people want to know, I think, more about in terms of the general masses. I think the theme park community really loves to talk about Universal as well. I just feel like there's like people who don't care for theme parks, but like if you wear an outfit that looks like Ariel, they can still relate to it. But if I do something that's like about Universal, not everyone can relate to it. But that being said, I love Universal. I think it's like both two. All of their theme parks are amazing that I've been to so far. The one in Hollywood as well. And I'm just so excited for all the stuff that they have going on. I think they're going to be like a massive contender come 2025 once they open their third theme park against Disney. I think they already are, but I think that's going to like really push Disney to have to like step up their game in some sort of way.
They need to.
Yeah,
I agree. As a person that's a
park.
pass holder at Disney also, when I'm in Florida, I'm in Celebration. But so, you know, I go all the time. I used to be one of the guys like you were talking about what you did at night at Universal. I'd come out of work, I'd go to Hollywood Studios, walk around, go to a couple shows, go to a couple of rides, and bust right back out. And that was my thing, obviously, before COVID. And now everything's different with the reservation system
Yep.
and all that jazz. And we'll get into that in just a moment. But my thing is, and I want to ask you this since we're on the Universal topic right now, I agree. Disney needs to step up their game. And I really do hope, as a person that still loves Disney, that Universal does put an extreme amount of pressure on them with this new park. Because Disney revamping some of these rides, like, I have some disagreements, and I'd love to get your opinion on this, especially
Sure.
with Hollywood Studios of what
Mhm.
they've been doing there. I'm not a Star Wars person, but there are a lot of people with Star Wars.
Mhm.
It's a big franchise in general, but Disney has so much room to build a fourth or a fifth park. They don't want to do it. I think with Hollywood Studios, they went the cheap way out. They have all this. The Streets of America was, a nothing spot. The tram tour kind of died, and it went in 2014, of course, and left. But the Streets of America was king because, and I'm sure as a Disney fanatic yourself,
Mhm.
you used to like this too. The
Yep.
Osborne Festival of Dancing Lights was
Amazing.
something, yes, amazing, and something people would come to Disney and they would do that every year. And that they closed that down was a travesty. And I think it really crushed that park. And the Star Wars, the Galactic Star Cruiser.
Star Cruiser.
I have trouble saying that sometimes. That was sold out at the beginning. Then people saw the YouTube video. Then they kind of backed away from that. The expensive part of obviously staying there was a huge thing. So, I love Toy Story. Even the Toy Story Land I thought is kind of weak with the Aliens ride. I thought they could have thought of something better than a Toy Story Teacups ride. It's kind of weak, in my opinion. So, what do you think of all this? Do you think that, as far as Hollywood Studios, Disney went the easy way out, and Universal really does have a chance to put some pressure in, like you said, in 2025 when this all opens up?
Yeah. Well, I think I'm like, I guess to even start off like with the answer, I'm someone whose favorite ride is Carousel of Progress. So I'm always gonna love like the original stuff
Okay.
that like, the original history of the park above all. So like yeah, I'm someone who like I wish Streets of America and stuff like that we
It's a
still
great
had.
movie ride. I
Yeah,
mean, that was
I
the park was founded on, and they closed it and put Mickey's Runaway Rail. I'm not a fan, but okay, go ahead.
that I don't mind that ride, but I was a big fan of Great Movie
Mhm.
Ride in general. And like as a kid, Hollywood Studios was also always my favorite park. So like which I feel like isn't the normal answer for someone who's really small, but like I don't know why. I knew that I liked it. And then I got really sad at one point when everything was under construction.
Yes.
But in terms of Star Wars, like I like Star Wars, but I'm definitely not someone who I would never put myself on the same level of fandom that a lot of other people are on, just because like that would be offensive to those people. I'm not there with it. So although like I think Galaxy's Edge is super cool, I can appreciate it for what it is, but like it's not like most times when I go to Hollywood Studios, I don't need to go there. Like I'm someone who
Right.
like I like going down like Sunset and like Tower of Terror, and like that's my jam. Like that the front section half of basically Hollywood Studios is my favorite with it. And like it's just interesting to see because like I guess the way I see it is that Star Wars, like Galaxy's Edge, was built because of the Wizarding World. Like it almost seemed like Universal put out Wizarding World. It was like amazingly detailed, although like that kind of did the same thing to Universal that Galaxy's Edge did to Disney, where it took out like Jaws and other fun
Right.
attractions. But I guess like they saw how Universal like really killed it in terms of theming, and then they did that. So hopefully that may like if we're already kind of seeing this like toggle between the two, that maybe it could like help them step up like in terms of wanting to do or announce something that is like puts them like one up above Universal. I think like any Disney fan would love to hear that they're going to announce a fifth park. I don't know if I could foresee that coming. just because it seems like there has been a lot of budget cuts and things like that are, swirling in Disney right now. Food has all gone up, alcohol is on, everything's gone up. And with that, I'm like, I don't know if they would put the money in, like, I don't know if they would do it. Like, I honestly, I would love for them to. I don't know if they would do it, but I mean, I think with like Epic Universe, I just don't see how they could do nothing. So hopefully that means something is coming, because
Well,
even like plans like Epcot, like, they got changed and kind of scaled down after the pandemic. So we're seeing a lot of like that happening. So hopefully we see like a push forward in a direction that maybe none of us see coming. I have no idea.
right. I mean, even you said about the expenses at Disney and how they've went up. I mean, we just go back to the Fast Pass as far as just going to that. I mean, that was Disney's, game that they had the free Fast Pass. Universal, you had to pay.
Yeah.
And now they just did the same thing, basically. In fact, they're even probably worse than Universal, because Genie Plus, you have to pay for every ride, different amounts. So somebody could whack way over $35. I don't know how much the Fast Pass at Universal is. It might be more.
Universal's is a little bit horrifying. When you look at their express passes, the lowest you can get is $80. But when you go during peak season, like the other day, I saw someone posted it was $250 for one day. So Universal's, I do have a bone to pick with their costs for their express passes. They have two, but both of them are quite high in price. So
yeah, but if you think, I mean, you and I that live in the area that would go like on a whim, I mean, obviously that's a different ball game than,
oh yes, for sure.
because if you're with Disney and you're going to Rise of Resistance and it's $15 a pop, and then you go on all these other rides, it's 8, 10, 9, whatever it may be, you got 4 or 5 people, you're gonna blow, probably, or even you'll probably get close to the Universal one.
Yeah, for sure. And I mean,
especially at Magic Kingdom, for sure, with all the rides there.
yeah, and I know if you buy like the base of like Disney Genie Plus that has like some of the rides included in your, your $15 starting fee, a lot of them, like from what I could see online, like when they sell out of certain attractions, by noon, a lot of those like heavy hitter rides like Mine Train or really popular attractions at any of the parks really are already gone. So if you wanted a lightning lane for like one of those and you didn't book it like right away as your first lightning lane, then you're basically out of luck for the rest of the day, but you still purchased the service in the morning. So you're probably going to be using it on a lot of like B-level attractions and not like the A-level attractions that you maybe thought you were going to be using it on. Like I miss Fast Passes, obviously. Like they were awesome. I even missed the paper ones. Like when we'd go to the park, like you get there, me and my brother knew, like you run to Big Thunder Mountain, we'll go wait in Splash Mountain, you join our line and we will go on the ride, jump on there. It was a whole situation, and that was fun. And it was free. So it's more fun. Everything's more fun if it's free. But yeah, it's definitely pretty crazy to just see even how much it can cost, like to go on a Disney vacation now for a family. I'm glad that I'm not having to pay for a family to go on a Disney vacation right now, because like I'm sure I don't know what it would have cost when I was a kid, because obviously I wasn't the one paying for it, but like nowadays I feel like it's so easy for just like a week to spend over $10,000, like
at least, especially if you're staying at a resort.
And that's like maybe Pop Century, you can hit around 10, but if you want to go like deluxe, like I don't even know, think 15.
Drop it at least 30 or 40, probably.
Maybe you could like I would not be surprised to hear that.
The reservation system started with the opening back up of Disney in general. The reservation system is still going on. It seems like you would be able to answer this better than I am, because I don't go to Universal, but I do follow a little bit what's going on there. But I believe if they have a reservation system, it's pretty much wide open all the time, correct?
They don't have one. So
okay,
like, yeah,
thank you.
You go whenever you want.
Right. So I think Disney still has the reservation system. And I know we could debate this back and forth, and we probably don't, unless you have inside information, we probably don't have the answer to this. But I believe they still have it so they can control their peak times. And also, it's going to hurt people like you and I that are annual pass holders that maybe want to go during the Christmas week or New Year's week or July 4th or wherever it may be during that summertime, that they're going to give preference to the people that are staying on property, to the people that are buying tickets, just going up to the window and buying tickets, and the people that already paid over $1,000 for the annual passes, and that's for most people. I assume you have the full
Yeah,
tilt annual
that
pass,
one.
so it's way over $1,000, and we're on the
Mhm.
same wavelength with that. Are going to get screwed throughout the summer on days, and we just have to kind of manipulate through the system. Whereas before, you and I would go, you could go at night for 2-3 hours, ride whatever you want, and just cut out. So, what is your opinion on the reservation system? I assume you kind of feel the same way as I do, or
I feel like there's no way you can be like an annual pass holder, especially a local, and like it, just because it took away like the spontaneity of everything, and especially once like, if it's any peak season, which like peak season can last for like months at Disney. Obviously, like we're about to head into peak season with school ending soon. It like makes it so that you need to plan like a random walk at like Magic Kingdom or Epcot a week in advance because you don't know, which like for people on vacation, that's fine because you're planning that stuff usually, months in advance. So you can get what you need to get. No problems there. But if you're someone like who's like doing all the local stuff, totally not a fan of it. It seems like it's, from what I know, they haven't fully confirmed it, but they have said that it's going to be, sticking around for like the foreseeable future. You can book into 2024 right now for your park pass. So like expect it for, the next couple years at least. And I think it's like for them really convenient to be able to track like who's coming in and who's coming out and all of that. But there's so many like things that I have to gripe about it, especially even like the park hopping. Like sometimes like if I want to go to Epcot today, but Epcot's gone, I'll get one for Hollywood Studios, and I literally scan into Hollywood Studios and go out the exit and get in my car and go to Epcot, which is like I just wish like I didn't have to do that because I'm like, what's the point? You're going to let me into Epcot anyways. So for those reasons, I'm just not a fan of it. And although I think people who are on vacation maybe like would have less of a care, I have had people on Instagram messaging me like when they've arrived at Disney World saying that they bought their tickets and they did not know they needed to make park reservations, and they're asking me, what do I do? There's no Magic Kingdom this week. What do I do? And I'm like, I'm not a travel agent, so I can't help the best of my abilities, but I'm like telling these people, upgrade to Park Hopper. It's your like, and then just hop over. It's the only way you're going to be able to get into Magic Kingdom. And like, it works out for the people, but like, it's also something that, although from what I've heard, because I've never bought tickets on Disney for the past while because of the annual pass, I guess they send you emails of like warning, but there's just so many people who are used to the way that Disney used to be before the pandemic. They haven't traveled since the pandemic, and they're like on autopilot. They just know you buy your ticket, pick your park like the morning of, and maybe they're not reading every Disney like newsletter or following Disney fan sites. They just like go to Disney because that's what they do. And for those people, there's been like, I've seen so many people post online that they've even arrived to the park and they're like turned away, and stories like that, which are super unfortunate, obviously, because it's like you get here. I would like, that would be so heartbreaking if I got here on vacation and I like built it up and I was so excited. And then I get to the park and you find out that all the parks are like, quote unquote, like at capacity and you can't get in. But like at 2 p.m. people will be able to park hop in there, but you're still not going to be allowed to, even get that initial entry. So yeah, like I can understand from a business point why Disney likes it. But from a local standpoint, unless it was like as open as it used to be before the pandemic in terms of like the way they allowed everybody to come into the parks all the time, there wasn't like a capacity limit the way that they have one right now, then I wouldn't mind if I always knew it was going to be available. But because I don't know it's always going to be available, and we have seen that they fill up so quickly, yeah, no.
Well, no, Alessa, my family was at Animal Kingdom about 2 weeks ago, and they told me that there was people from a different country, not sure where, but regardless of that, they were coming into the park, and they, again, like you said, they didn't have their reservation, and they were turned away. And that sucks for them because
That
they're
so
not even from
sucks.
this country, and they're screwed, you
Yeah,
know?
so unfortunate. Like one of the things that makes me so happy about like living here is watching, like I love seeing people go on vacation to Disney World, especially if they have kids. Like it just makes me happy to see them happy. So to like know that there's like a family that like that this is happening more often than not, I feel like is just so like, oh, like no, that sucks.
Yeah, it's terrible. Again, for people that are listening, if you want to follow Alessa, you can go on Instagram. It's underscore that Diz Girl. On TikTok, it's that Diz Girl. And on YouTube, it's that Disney Girl. So you
Lots
can
of
just,
variations.
yeah, I know. Sorry. I'm going to get tongue-tied saying all these words on different social media sites. Alessa, as we keep going into the interview, and I just want to say, so we are on 8 minutes left. So when that gets to one, I'm going to duck out, and then if we can come back in just to finish the interview,
Sure.
if that's cool with you. Okay, cool.
Yeah, no problem.
All right, so let's kick this around. So, we spoke about Disney Genie Plus, and we've talked about the costs now of Disney, especially since the pandemic. Food, alcohol, clothes, everything in the kitchen sink has really skyrocketed. For people, first of all, I guess I'll ask this: have you used Disney Genie Plus? I know you say you've looked through it. Have you used it and purchased any rides on that? And if so, would you recommend people that are coming here on a vacation, obviously depending on their financial situation, should they get Disney Genie Plus?
Um, I've used it. I think if you really can like learn to understand how to use it, you're like waking up at like before that 7 a.m. mark and you're making your reservations. That may like I've seen people who have been able to like get 6 or 7 rides out of it. So in that case, like I think that stuff could be good. When I found it to be most useful was when I was in Disneyland. And it wasn't even for the attractions. It was because PhotoPass is included in your Disney Genie price. And like when I was in Disneyland, I was there on, like I said, Dapper Day that one time. So for me, I wanted those like photos and stuff.
Right.
So we literally just bought one Disney, like we didn't even buy it for 2 people. We just bought it for 1 person, literally just so we can get the PhotoPass perks. So for if you're someone who really likes PhotoPass, then maybe like it could be good for your family in that sort of sense. But because I literally only used it 1 time, I feel like I can't say don't do it or do it. But it's just interesting because I'll see some reviews of people who say that they, couldn't get a lot of rides in, and some people who say they have gotten a lot of rides in. But something to note is that Disney most recently, like on their website, they changed the language of basically what to expect from Disney Genie Plus, which is if you're buying that like $15 per person, like base package of the service, to that it is guaranteeing 2 to 3 attractions for the $15. Like they did before, it was an open amount of attractions, but now they literally specify like 2 to 3. And I think that's to limit expectations so that when people are buying it, they're not thinking that like this is going to be their fast pass to like 5 or 6 rides in the park that day, or 7 rides, or they won't have to wait in line. I think they like, it seems like maybe people were expecting that and that wasn't happening. So they had to like put that limit there. So I think it's just kind of like, if you have, the money to do it, then like, sure. But I don't like use it as a local because like that would be so expensive. And I'm able to have like a good time as well But again, like I go to the parks like because I like the atmosphere, and I could do one ride and I'll be happy with it. So I think there's like a difference in like what I value when I go to the park versus what someone on a vacation would value. I feel like I'm not giving a straight answer on that, but just because I don't use the service often, it's harder for me to like judge it, I guess.
That's fair. Not a problem. Let's start off talking about your TikTok. So
Sure.
obviously you have a lot of people that follow you. A lot of people are watching these videos. There's a lot of good information on them. So when did you have the idea to start this TikTok?
I feel like I was someone who like was very late to the game on TikTok. Like it was getting like blowing up, and I just was like, no, I like Instagram. And I made a TikTok just because everyone was making it, and I just did not use it. Like I was not using TikTok for like over a year. I had it, but I didn't like I never used it for myself, and I never used it to like look at other videos. I just didn't even open the app. And then I think I maybe just posted like I one day was like, I'll post a couple of videos and like try to learn how it works. And I had some do well. And then I did absolutely nothing again on it. But I think I started to pick up on it more when I had a video go very viral of the Grinch.
Right.
If you saw a viral video of the Grinch last Christmas holiday season, it was probably that one. And from that, I started to get a lot more traction, and like I was able to like, you know, feel like there it was worth posting, I guess, because like I was building a follow, I guess, from that, and like started branching out and trying to get people. The interesting thing is like when you go viral because of someone else on your TikTok, you need to get them like I don't love that, because then people are following for the Grinch, but not for me. So like now I have to convert all these people to be like, hi, this is the person you actually followed, and this is what I do. But thankfully now a lot of my videos that are doing well are of me and like the things that I like to do and things I like to talk about. So we're in a much better direction personally, just from like what I like to do, because I want like, it's not so much like I don't care if like the following number is huge. I want it to be like I more so enjoy the interactions of everything and that sort of stuff. So yeah, it was just like I just made it because everyone else was making one, and then now I've been like trying to just find my niche in it to see like to not just do it because other people are doing it, but like it actually like making these videos and like putting them together is like a good source of creativity and something exciting for me to do in my day. And like, you know, if it could help other people on different things, bring me like closer together with other people, that's all super cool too.